hero reworks are incredibly important in Overwatch, and with the 2026 year upon us, we may be seeing even more reworks than we ever have before. So I've decided to choose 5 heroes that I think need a rework the most, what needs to be fixed, and how we can do that. Enjoy! First on my list is Sombra. Now, Sombra has had many reworks already in the past, so, they've really been trying with this character. And she is supposedly getting reworked next. I mean, they've teased that for almost a year, but I think they even directly said it around Spotlight that Sombra was the next rework. And it makes sense. Now, I really, really do love Sombra. Mostly old Sombra, like the newest Sombra is not bad, but it is not my favorite, just because I enjoy the character less in this version. So I'm actually excited to see if they do a rework where they actually focus on some of the pain points and make her more fun to play against and more fun to play. Her kit is frustrating to play against, to put it lightly, and it's for a reason. In my opinion, there's a reason that people never really explain. When any other hero kills you, so for instance, if we're going to talk about like Cassidy, right? You can see Cassidy sitting on that angle, you can see him walk to the angle, and you can see him shoot you and your teammates. And then when he hits a good shot on you and double dinks you, you watched him miss about 10 shots before that and set up. Right, you watched him set up and do that. And so it feels psychologically in your head that you were correctly punished. Like, okay, that guy missed a few shots and then he hit a shot. That's my bad. I shouldn't have let him be able to, get that shot off in the first place. Sombra works where she sucks so much in neutral, and in neutral she's invisible. So she tends to just pop out unexpectedly and do a ton of damage to you. Because Sombra doesn't just blindly shoot. She picks her target. Yes, she wants to be high uptime and always be trying to do something, but she has a big down dips where you do not see Sombra and you do not know what Sombra is doing. So you might misplay, but you find it hard to believe that you actually messed up because of how Sombra's kit feels to play against, if all that makes sense. And the feel of a kit to play and to play against is the most important thing, and Sombra does not feel that fun at the moment for either party. She is really weak and easily punishable, yet when Sombra does do well, even if you are punishing her, it feels like she has the upper hand. If you make Sombra have to translocate out, you've won that trade. You have to think about it like that. But anyway, that's not what this is about. Sombra, for her rework, just needs to not need to have a burst damage. I'm not even just saying not to have burst damage, I'm saying not need to have it. She's currently been designed in a way where she has to be good at virus. This is a separate complaint, but the design philosophy has really been focused on having one singular ability or weapon be the focus of a character and then forgetting about everything else. And I don't really know why they've been doing that, because it's failed on every single character. Sojourn, Vendetta, even Wu Young to a degree, Freya, and so they just need to move away from that, right? I would like a little more focus on the rest of her. Personally, I would love more util focus. I would love it if I was able to use more utility, if Hack did something more meaningful, if there was a way to actually be helpful and secure kills through utility. Sort of similar to Mei, where the Mei gets the kill because she got a good wall, right? And so it's like, okay, I got walled off and died. I didn't get one shot and die, right? It's very different feeling. Util is just a really good way of doing that, and she used to be a bit more utility focused with the Hack being very powerful. And look, I don't personally know what they could do. I think Hack could do some weird shenanigans, right? It could do some other stuff, slow you. I don't know. I don't really know, but you can just think about it. I would also rather, this is a weird one, but have Hack be less powerful, but make it cast quicker so you can constantly use it, but it's doing a lot less than an ability like it, like it's doing something different. And then some random idea I had, I'm just going to throw this out there. I don't think they should actually do this because I don't know how you'd make a kit revolve around this. But I always thought, instead of having virus and Hack, she should have this is such a dumb idea. I had this idea 3 years ago, where she throws out a grenade, stay with me, and it explodes on the floor in a pool. Right, it makes a little pool on the floor, and if you are standing in that circle, you can't use your abilities. You're silenced. It's a silenced ability, zone essentially, and it does a small tick of damage over time. The reason I don't mind this is because technically you would then use this as an open to kill someone, but they're only silenced as long as they stay in the thing for. But it also gives you more chance to maybe get multiple silences in a big group upsetting. Look, I don't think they'd ever do something like that, but I think it would be more fair. But hey. Ability silences are always annoying no matter how fair you try and make them. So anyway, in conclusion, higher uptime and less burst, more utility. Sombra was definitely the one I was going to talk about the longest. Let's move on. Roadhog. this hero has been a pain point for possibly a decade. Like, this guy has just always been annoying. Like, it's just always been a problem for people playing with him, people playing against him, and even people playing him. And he's never truly been reworked. They've just added a trap and then removed it. And they made the take a breather a resource instead of a one-time cooldown thing, which probably is the more fun way to do it. The problem with Roadhog is that one shot is the only way he is viable. He doesn't do anything other than one shot, right? And he's focused on hooking someone to one-shot them. And I think the devs and other people have this idea, the hook ability almost can't be good if he doesn't one-shot kill them afterwards. That's what it's useful for. And I do disagree, right? I do disagree. But let's just talk about a little more how he feels to play against. Similar to Sombra, Hog is seemingly doing nothing. At least you can see him, but he's just kind of sat there doing literally chip damage with his right click, right? And then bang, hook, and you're dead. There was no build up to that. There was no, you know, like a slow ticket. It was just, you got hooked and you just died. It's super frustrating to play against. Really annoying. Can be really hard to play into, right? If the hog is just not missing hook. I like the idea of hook being more of a good piece of util that your team follow up on, right? Or, you know, just general disruption. I'm gonna spit some ideas here, and I've had these for a while because, look, I'm gonna mention Makoa from Paladins. I used to play a lot of Paladins, and when I did, funny enough, I was a Makoa player. I don't know why. I'll probably show some footage of Makoa. And I know they can't just copy Makoa straight in. And I don't think they should. I think Hog's playstyle is different to this. But here, let me explain this. This is a concept and a theory, less so than an ability. The idea is with Makoa that you could hook someone, shoot them, and then use this movement ability that you dashed through people, right? And it did damage. This wasn't a one-shot because Paladins is more of a MOBA, like, health pool thing, where that is really high burst damage, but it's not crazy. And he's a tank, so he's not meant to do crazy burst damage, but it's crazy disruptive and does a lot of damage. And if your team shoot the person while you're doing that they will die, right? But you had to use your escape cooldown to do that extra bonus damage. Or you could just hook, shoot them, and have them disrupted, and then save your movement to get out. I like the theory and the philosophy here is that you can do a bit of a burst damage here to this guy and almost kill him, but you would sacrifice a escape cooldown, right? And on a character like Hog, being able to move somewhere would be extremely beneficial. And on Makoa, it also was kind of beneficial. I mean, the game is less annoying in terms of, you know, you don't have to have as much movement in Paladins, but it was really great for being able to make a rotation with that, get out of it with that cooldown. And it was just, it really was a great design choice, and I really like that for some reason. This, to me, makes one of the healthiest hooks in the game because most of Makoa's value was landing a good hook that got follow-up. People being hooked will probably still die, but I think it feels a little better to know that you got displaced more than you got one shot on like a flank, right? And one more idea, because I'm not saying we need to add a massive movement cooldown to Hog. I'm thinking of a separate ability, right? A separate idea, but could also synergize well with the new hook idea, is a thing like Gragas from League of Legends has this little movement ability where he dashes forward and he bumps people, right? And the only reason I thought of that is because Hog's also, you know, a bit fat, and so is Gragas. And so give him a little belly bump, you know, give him a little belly bump. I think a Gragas belly bump would be cool, especially with a hook. Like if you would a hook and then bump, the philosophy, it's all adding up. If the hook displaces them, then you can't do the one-shot follow-up, but then you have another. Guys, this is so much better. I'm sorry. I feel like this is better, but I'm not a dev. I think conclusion of Hog, move away from burst, possible movement ability, and then that is good enough as a first step. And I think if we can get that down, and even if he's weak, if we can get that down, that is fine. That is fine. Preferably a focus on disruption as well. I think that would be a lot better. Okay, one more thing. I thought I would spend way less time on Hog. Hook would be quite cool if it worked like in a way where you could hook to a place and it would pull you to it. I think that would be sick. I think that would be really freaking cool. That would be one of the best most fun movement abilities in the game, if you could like hook somewhere and you would pull yourself to it, but if you hook someone, they would come to you, type of thing, right? Anyway, that's it. Moving on. Let's go on to the next hero that probably needs a rework. I have quite a bit less to say about this one. It's Mercy, right? Because I'm not as smart with Mercy, and I also think Mercy is very difficult to rework. And this is not a jab Mercy players or people that like Mercy, because I actually think Mercy movement is very fun, and I play some Mercy parkour while I'm in queue. But you have to admit, and especially this season, Mercy is pretty weak and does struggle, can struggle and doesn't feel that interactive or fun for the team you're playing with and the team you're playing against. She's also been reworked a few times already. Now, I wouldn't say anything major. Like, yeah, they moved the ult off and did things to Valk, but they never have fundamentally really changed Mercy that much. Why does reworking Mercy suck? Why is it difficult? The character is really flawed. I like Mercy, guys. I do not take this as like a hating Mercy thing, but she is fundamentally flawed as a design. And so when you have a fundamental flawed kit that people enjoy playing, you have a very difficult line to walk on a rework, because the thing is, if you were to make this kit healthy, you might lose a lot of players that like the character, and in the end of the day, that is the most important thing. Do people like playing a character? It just is one of the most important things, right? So it's quite difficult to figure out what to do, and that's why I don't have the best ideas. But the idea here with Mercy is that healing is quite lackluster, but it's very consistent. Like, she doesn't have a resource, right? She just consistently can heal, but it's just not that much. It's almost like a Lucio heal aura, but Lucio even has amp, so that changes things a little bit. Damage boost is a very volatile ability. What I mean by that is it is very effective on specific characters, but some characters get nothing out of it. So for instance, if you're playing Mercy and you're one-tricking Mercy, which, you know, do you want to lose you happy, that happy, and you get a Sojourn, you get a Soldier, you get an Ashe, you get a Hanzo, you get like whatever, you're going to be like, okay, those are sick damage boost targets. That's great. But then if you get a comp where you get like Tracer Sombra or like Trace Adventure, or, you know, there's just some characters where it's going to suck to damage boost. Like they get less benefits out of it, either because they're really independent and really mobile, so that makes it difficult for Mercy to follow up with them. Mercy would much rather, unfortunately, sit and pocket the hit scan DPS. So one, it's hard to follow up on, and two, the breakpoints aren't as strong. Ashe Headshot is disgusting with damage boost. Sojourn Headshot is disgusting with damage boost, whereas other characters get a little less out of it. Right, so Mei, for instance, if you're not going to damage boost to Mei's not really going to get much from that, and so that's something that makes her really annoying to play with and to play sometimes. And Resurrection is kind of a broken cooldown. I think it's a very, very strong ability, but the cooldown is so high on it, it isn't, and it's nerfed by having this like 30-something second cooldown, which that is literally a fight. You can resurrect, which is fine, but it means you're doing less, and I think doing less is less fun. So I've always thought soft thing to do is you could remove Resurrect and just give Flash Heal. I think they're going to add Flash Heal to the kit, but I hope to God they don't keep Resurrect for it. I actually think Resurrect just has to go. I don't care if it's hero identity, I just think it does have to go. But Mercy's hard to fix. I think you have to focus on what's fun first. What is fun with Mercy, and then figure out what you can do with that. It's movement. It's movement and fast rotations, playing to live by, you know, flying around, jumping between different positions. Really, really fun. Okay? So she almost needs to be rewarded for moving, and I don't even know how you do that. I have had this weird idea where moving would charge up something that heals or damage boosts or something like that. I don't know. It would just reward people for moving, but I don't know if that would even change the way she's played. The problem with Mercy is that she doesn't behave like any other support, and so it's really difficult to figure out what parts of her kit you could keep and what parts you couldn't keep. I think the movement just has to exist. I think if the movement exists and a really low effort way of providing util exists, and then the movement, being good at moving, makes that better, she'd be in a better spot. This hero is really rough, and that's all I'm going to say, and I don't really know the perfect way to do it, but she just needs to be able to do something very low maintenance with her primary, and then needs to be able to move, which is complicated, a complicated mechanic that people like doing, and so they'll do it. So if people pick up Mercy for the first time, mechanically very easy, right? But to get the true ceiling out of Mercy, you have to be better at moving. Right now, being good at movement has like has a limit to how far it'll take you, right? But if it was to give you a boost in something, make you stronger or in some way, that would be great. Anyway, moving on. Lifeweaver is another Mercy adjacent type of hero. I'll try to be quick with this. I am taking forever on a lot of these reworks, but I've thought quite thoroughly about these. But Lifeweaver is also really tough because he's similar to Mercy, where he's kind of just in a weird spot where nothing in his kit works. Like, objectively speaking, nothing in his kit is healthy game design. Is it fun? Yes, it's fun. I like Lifeweaver, okay? Is it healthy? Not really. So that's where you struggle, because it's like, okay, well, you removed anything from this. If you can't make a new character, that type of thing. You can't just make a new character. I also want to butt here and quickly say I have this weird philosophy. I'm a massive rework guy. Okay, I think reworks should be the priority over heroes, and that is, I know. I think their method may stray into a realm of Life Weaver sucks, so we're gonna keep him weak, but we're gonna make 5 more supports, so it doesn't matter. Which is League of Legends philosophy. And I don't like it, okay? League of Legends is like, okay, that support, that guy sucks, all right? We're going to leave him alone. Here's Milio. Go on, play new Enchanter. That's fine. You know, and I think that's boring. I think that's boring. Anyway, moving on. What's the problem with Weaver? At least he's been micro-buffed and now does do a lot of damage and heal fairly well, right? Which is good. That's a good split. Supports need to be able to do damage and heal. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And I think his cooldowns haven't worked like they thought they might. Grip isn't very interactive, and Grip doesn't really feel that fun or rewarding for anyone. And Jetpack Cat is just the better Life Weaver. So that's exactly what I'm saying with the rework thing. Jetpack Cat has just absolutely got him beat. And also, his pedal is used by himself the most. He uses the pedal the most. I have rarely used a Life Weaver's pedal, and it's ever been in a good spot. But Life Weaver will always take it. If I'm playing Life Weaver, I'm taking the pedal and going to these spots. And so that's why I'm saying his abilities have failed to really do what I think they were intended to do, which was meant to be for some reason, I think the DevStallers character would be like really fun to like set up with. Like if you were high rank and you were common, you could like set up these really cool things, but it just never worked like that. I think he is missing a core reason to play him, and that's kind of where they need to figure it out. And I think they need to simplify his kit. I think they just need to simplify. I know that the hero identity is the pedals and the grip, but I think they just need to make this kit simpler. This kit needs to be simpler, and he needs to do something that's different. Maybe he provides attack speed, and something like that. Right, that's cool. He just needs something that he does that other people maybe don't do as well, or have a shared identity, but just be a different stroke of that. Right, and I think pedal and grip are just too weird, and they need to be almost simplified in some way. I think pedal is the cooldown I could say the most. I think grip is just, it feels frustrating on both sides. I feel like frustrating is the best way to use. It just, grip doesn't never feel right. Alright, anyway, moving on. That one's gonna be quick. Hanzo. Maybe you didn't expect this one. But the reason I put Hanzo here is because Hanzo to me is really salvageable, and is the closest. And other heroes here are just lost causes, right? I like the idea of doing 5 heroes that need reworks desperately, but are also quite reworkable. Like there's a lot you can do with that kit. And Hanzo, definition of that. To be blunt, one shot is unfun. One shot is just unfun. That's just the nature, and that's been the theme through all the damaging heroes. Let me just spew some ideas I've had, right? Let me get some of these ideas I've had. Less damage, but faster attack speed would be a good direction to go. Unfortunately, one of my ideas was basically just Freya. I'm not kidding. I had an idea before Freya came out that Hanzo should shoot quicker but do less damage, right? But then have his right click be a more steady shot that does more damage, and then they should focus on his double jump as a movement cooldown. That is literally Freya. So unfortunately, Freya is the Hanzo rework. So then I went into this new idea, right? Utility. I am a utility guy, okay? I like it. I've got the utility DPS video. It's fun. Util arrows, right? Swap between like a fire, ice, and wind arrow. And obviously, the fire burns, the ice slows, and the wind knocks back. Because I think Storm Arrow kind of sucks. And Recon is actually cool and fine, but with the if we were to do this new util direction, it's a little less valid than before. But yeah. And also, they don't need to be elemental. He doesn't need to become an elemental character. They can legit just be 3 different arrows, like burn arrow, slow arrow, and knockback arrow. Or like just do different pieces of utility. I think that'd be cool if you could cycle between them. And I also don't mean it like these are his only arrows. I mean, he has a normal like arrow, right? He's normally shooting, but then he has an ability where he can swap between them. I'm going to make another League of Legends reference here. I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's a character called Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate has 3 cards that he can cycle between, depending on which one he wants. And that's how I think the ability should act. He clicks a button, and then it cycles. So, I don't think it's short like Twisted Fate, though, where it's like, it basically, Twisted Fate just keeps ticking between them, and you have to click it again to stop it on the one you want. I think it should just be, you click once, you get fire, you click that, you get storm, like, it's something like that, right? These are all my weird ideas, all right? And I don't know how they can fit into one hero design, but they need to just try things. So go crazy with that. Anyway, those are all my 5 heroes I think need reworks the most. And I gave a reason why they need a rework and what I think their kit needs. To recap in a one sentence thing, Sombra needs higher uptime, less burst, and more util. Hog needs less burst, possible movement ability, and a more of a focus on like disruption and stuff like that, right? Mercy needs to be more rewarding to move places and not have Resurrect be an ability that is necessary for their kit, and figure out a way to make her primaries less, bad. Life Weaver needs to be simplified. They need to make him less of this weird character, because it's not working, right? It's not working. So they need to simplify him and then go from there and make him do something that maybe other characters don't do as much. Again, a bit of util. Hanzo needs to lose a one-shot, either attack quicker and do less damage, or have these utility arrows, again, be able to cycle between different abilities to do more things. So again, the summary of that is less burst and more util. As you can see, I do have a clear design philosophy in my head that I like. It's movement and utility, right? I think those are the two best things that a character can have. Anyway, obviously not every character. Some characters have to do a lot of damage at once. It's how the game works.